Hey guys, DC Multiverse Dude here. Coming at you with a really quick review of DC Multiverse Batwing from the New 52. Here he is. This is not a new figure. He's been around for a while. Everyone's reviewed him, so I'm not going to take up too much time. Just want to give you my quick thoughts on this figure. But before I do, I just really wanted to emphasize that we're now in the 900 plus subscriber point for this channel. That's really great. I'm really grateful for everyone's support. If you've subscribed, thanks so much. I really want to get to 1,000. That's the goal. And so if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed and you value what I have to say, or even if you don't, hit the subscribe button anyway, please. When we get to 1,000 subscribers, we're going to do a giveaway open to all international subscribers as well. The prize is yet to be determined, but at this point it's looking like it's going to be $100 Australian dollars gift card for Fet's Hideout Toys and Collectibles online store, and it's open only to subscribers, this competition. So if you haven't subscribed and you watch my stuff regularly, or if you're watching for the first time, please hit subscribe, because when we hit 1,000 we're going to do a giveaway. All right, so Batwing from the New 52. Here's the box. You can see this figure. He looks great in hand. I can already tell I've got some issues with the lack of paint, but we'll get into that when I open him up. Batwing from Batman Incorporated. Some great art on the back. Of course, the art doesn't quite match the figure, but that's par for the course. Batwing. All right. My knowledge of Batwing is fairly limited. I know that there's a Luke Fox Batwing, and there's also this Batman Incorporated Batwing. You know, I would have thought that Luke Fox would have been the first version of Batwing we got, but in many ways it's kind of cool that McFarlane's gone a little bit left of center, given us this version. We'll probably get the Luke Fox version later down the line, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I really want to see how this figure fits in hand and check out his accessories, so let's do that. All right, so here we have Batwing from Batman Incorporated out of the package. With everything he comes in the box. You can see he comes with the classic display stand, which I have some feelings about. We have a collector's card, which I will show you here. It's got some nice art that doesn't match the figure, and it's got the bio, which you can pause there if you want to read. And he comes with a range of thruster effects for his wings and jetpack, and also for his boots, which sort of ties into my complaint about the display stand, but we'll get to that in a minute. First things first, let's have a look at this figure. So here we have David Zavimbe Batwing, not the Luke Fox Batwing. And from my knowledge of the David Zavimbe Batwing, this is essentially Batman of Africa. Batman offers him the role of becoming Batman for, the Republic of Congo. And he, takes up that offer and dons this sort of amazing suit that's given to him. It's a very, very cool looking figure right off the bat, like all that sculpted detail. I'm not sure how well it comes across on camera, but in person, it's highly, highly impressive. The other thing that struck me is the head sculpt. It's a really, really great sort of portrait. I love the way the mask kind of becomes the winged helmet as well. And I like that you can see the natural skin tone, and yeah, it all together just comes together really well. His other big feature you can see are these wings. Now these are very, very sort of thin, bendy plastic. There is absolutely nothing to them. No articulation other than up and down. So you can pose them up and down, which is quite nice. But yeah, they're kind of nicely sculpted, but feel a little bit cheap. They look good though, which is sort of the main thing. Obviously, the biggest drawback with this Batwing is the lack of paint. There's just like barely any paint on him. He's cast from head to toe in this marbled plastic. So this is not paint, this is the color of the plastic. It's kind of a cool color, but there's nothing to break it up or bring out any of these beautiful details. And last week I was reviewing the Blue Beetle movie, Blue Beetle, and that figure has an incredible sculpt, but it's got like a silver metallic wash all over it that brings out all the lines. It's like incredibly impressive. This is much less impressive. This feels like, the budget was spent on the sculpt and then they said, well, no more paint. And it's just disappointing because with a little bit of extra love to bring out some of this line work, you know, this could be a mind-blowing figure. As it is, he just looks slightly unfinished. I like him a lot, but yeah, slightly unfinished is my first impression. And it's a shame because if you look at, you know, the quality of the sculpting, it's really incredible. I mean, this is the McFarlane diaper, you can see there. Even the diaper has sculpting in it, you know, which sort of makes it very different from some of the other diapered figures that we've got recently, like Captain Atom, who just had a plain silver diaper with no detail on it. It looked terrible. This is fully sculpted, you know, even the back. You'll see that the joints, the ratchets, have got sculpting in the ratchets as well. That's the same in the arms. You know, this is really well detailed, and why they couldn't just go the extra mile with a wash or something to bring out that detail is sort of beyond me. Luckily though, there seems to be a little bit of paint here applied to the bat symbol to bring that out, but the contrast is not great. You know, they could have done better, and it's just a shame. Savvy customizers will be able to sort this out themselves and customize their own figure, but we shouldn't have to do that. You know, enough's enough. These figures are so expensive, and so much effort is put into the sculpt. You know, why not just go the extra mile and give them a wash? Anyway, I don't know. In terms of articulation, he's really quite well articulated. He's kind of, all his joints are really sort of stiff and firm. He's got the wrist joints, double jointed elbows. Oh, those ratchets are really tight. Yeah, really tight. They might need to be warmed up with a hairdryer, but you know, I can tell that the range of motion is good. His pauldrons are a softer plastic, so you can get some a lift about that high, not quite a T-pose. Head swivels around 360 without a problem. He can look up decently, although perhaps not enough for a flight pose, though we'll get into that in a minute. And he can look down, you know, right at his toes, very impressively. In terms of the torso, he's got ab crunch, fairly limited, but that way quite a lot. Also good for a flight pose, which we'll get to in a minute. Torso swivel, he can't. He doesn't rotate left to right. There's stiffness there, so you're not going to be able to position him much left to right, although he does swivel at the chest and right around if you want to. So that's something. We can do the splits fairly comfortably, double jointed knees. Again, very, very stiff, but he can do it. Obviously, very limited thigh rotation, and there's no thigh cut as per usual. Toes, standard McFarlane ankles, nothing new there, although they are stiff. You know, I would say this figure is overall extremely stiff. This is probably a record for the amount of times I've said stiff in a video. Make of that what you will. But yeah, you know, he articulates well. You could probably get him into some really cool flight poses if you want to. You know, he's quite fun to play with. Overall, like really well designed, just not quite finished in my opinion. And while we're on the subject of fit and finish, let's talk about accessories. So Batwing comes with 3 accessories, which include a blaster effect for his jetpack and 2 blaster effects for his boots. Now, I'm going to show you how those work in a minute, but you can immediately see the issue, can't you? In that as soon as you apply these booster effects to his feet, he's not going to be able to use the display stand, and there's no way to pose him using those. Because no flight stand is included in the box, which I think is the biggest crime with this figure. I mean, look at this figure, dynamic winged jet boosters coming out there, and you can't make him fly unless you have a flight stand handy. That's just cheap, that's just ridiculous, and it's got to stop, you know. These figures need to come with the stand that they need. Anyway, let's get the effects put on and see how he looks. And wouldn't you know it, he looks great on a flight stand that I've stolen from another figure. You know, I'm not a great poser, but you can tell the potential here. You know, with all the thrusters, you could get some really dynamic flight poses. You know, it's inexcusable that this figure doesn't come with a display stand, and we're seeing this more and more with McFarlane figures. We're getting flying characters without flight stands. We're getting underwater characters like Aquaman and Black Manta and stuff who should be posed in sort of dynamic underwater poses without flight stands. And you know, given that we just don't get many accessories for these figures in general, you know, the flight stand or the display stand is meant to be sort of like the bare minimum that we should get. And I'm calling McFarlane out for just not providing them. And, you know, I know inflation is a thing, but like at a certain point, you've just got to meet the basic requirements, okay? We're not getting guns for our characters that need guns. We're not getting lots of extra sets of hands with many figures or swappable heads. But the stands have always been something that you can rely on McFarlane for, especially in the first couple of years of the line. And now it seems like we're just doing away with them and dropping the ball. And I'm just really disappointed. This figure needs a display stand. They're pretty cheap to pick up online, but we shouldn't have to be doing it. So yeah, if you're gonna get this figure, make sure you've got a flight stand hanging around to get the most out of it. But you know, that your mileage may vary. Some people might not care. I might just be ranting about nothing, but that really annoys me, I guess. So to sum up, pretty good figure. We're talking 7 out of 10. With a great wash, he would have been like an 8.5. As he is, he's really good. I'm glad to get him. I had to pay a lot of money for him because he's not getting a local release in Australia. So I had to go through a store that does grey imports, which are more expensive. Yada, yada, yada. Maybe that's why I'm feeling pretty grumpy about the lack of proper accessories and display stand and paint. But I'm glad to have him. You know, it's a really solid lineup to the Bat family. In fact, why don't we take a look and see how he looks alongside the rest of the Bat family? Yep. As I thought, he looks great with the Bat family. And he looks great posed on a flight stand. So yeah, he brings a lot of sort of color variety. That metallic sheen is sort of a new thing. Really makes him stand out, and he fits in great with the rest of sort of the Batman Incorporated style characters like Ghostmaker and Duke Thomas, and you know, he's just a great sort of Batman adjacent character that really fleshes out a collection and really gives it some variety. So from that angle, I think he's a great ad if you're a Batman fan or a Bat Family fan. But yeah, he's just not quite complete in box. So make sure you've got a flight stand. But if you do, I think there's a lot to like, and this is a really cool figure. So that's all from me. I hope you found this helpful or useful. Please like and please subscribe. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers so we can do a giveaway thanks to Fett's Hideout Toys and Collectibles. Until then, I'll see you next time. Have a great day. This video was brought to you with the support of Fett's Hideout Toys and Collectibles. For a great range of toys from DC Multiverse to Black Series to Marvel Legends, Hot Toys and more, visit Fett's Hideout Toys and Collectibles and use the offer code DCDUDE. That's DCDUDE for an exclusive discount month to month. Could be 5% off or $5 off at checkout. Try the code, see what you get, place an order with Fett's, and you won't be disappointed. And we thank Fett's for their continued support of this channel.